All right, so something's not right with the side of the RV. And I'm gonna venture to say that 95 to 99% of you who watch my channel that have an RV probably have something similar going on. Well, I'm gonna say specifically a fifth wheel because I don't see this too often with travel trailers. But what do you think it is? It's not a problem, and it's certainly not something that's functional. It's more cosmetic. What do you think is wrong? And I'm gonna venture to say most of you probably won't figure it out because everyone's kind of used to manufacturers doing this, so they don't really think it's an issue because it's not really an issue, to be honest. It's, again, more cosmetic. What do you think is cosmetically wrong with the side of the fifth wheel? Some of you may say the color, some of you may say the graphics, some of you may say the frame. I mean, I don't know, but I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of mixed answers to this question. But what we're gonna do today is gonna be to address this cosmetic issue, and hopefully it'll inspire some of you to do the same if this is something that is concerning you as well. So hang tight, I'll be right back. All right, so if you didn't figure it out, the problem is right here. And what's the problem? Well, you see the black trim that goes right here, then all of a sudden you get to the baggage door and the propane door, and you just have these solid white doors. Now, if I go around to the other side, got the same issue going on over here. And again, it's not a problem, it's just cosmetic. So I'm gonna attempt to address this today, and hopefully we'll be able to change the look cosmetically, and it will look better than it did before I started this endeavor. Okay, so the primary tool I'm gonna use today is gonna be a squeegee, as well as a little X-Acto knife. And I am going to use this 3M 1080 satin black air release vinyl wrap. And this is probably similar to what they already used for the main graphics of the RV in the dark areas. Not 100% sure if that's what they used, but they may have. But we're gonna hopefully get this installed in a way that matches the trim going down the side, and it kind of completes the look. You know, it may not look better than it does now, but when I'm done with it, I'm gonna guess it probably will. So let's go ahead and get this stuff rolled out. And the way I'm gonna do this essentially is clean the doors off. Just get like a mild detergent, wash the doors really, really well so it has something to stick to. It's more of a matted material anyway, so I don't think I need to sand it down or make it abrasive for it to stick. This 3M stuff is pretty high quality stuff. I'll lay the straight line edge of the graphics down, and then I'll squeegee it in place. I might put a little bit of soapy water on the other side of it, kind of like you would with tint. That way you can move it around a little bit without it forming air bubbles that you can't get out. And we'll see how it works. Okay, nice and clean. Next, I'm gonna lay the vinyl up over it, and again, I may use some mild soapy detergent to spray on the back side of it. That way it gives me some flexibility moving it around if I need to. Okay, so the inner dimension or inner measurement of the door width is 45.5 inches. So I have a piece here that I cut to 46 inches. Then they included these, which honestly, I really don't know what these are. They're like little adhesive felt strips. I cut them up into little pieces like this just so I could kind of tape it into place. But again, I really don't know why they included this versus like a little pack of masking tape or something that might work just as well. Okay, so I'll be the first to admit I am not a vinyling expert in terms of graphics. So I used the straight edge that was cut already for the top. I used the other edge that was cut already for the side. These are the handles right here, so I got to trim around those, which is probably going to be the hardest part of this. I essentially pulled half of the backing down, and then I cut along the bottom edge of the door so I'd have a little bit of slack, because I know once I get around the handles I might need that slack. But yeah, this is where I'm at so far. The only thing I really need to do at this point is trim it and pull it so it all fits properly. There's some folks who can do something like this in their sleep. I mean, they're really good at it. I am certainly not one of those. But it's coming along, and it matches really well, which is nice. So I'm gonna continue working this, and hopefully I'll make it look really good when I'm done. You know, when you tackle projects like this, you often wonder if it's worth doing that extra step to make it easier on yourself. And when I was evaluating whether I should just leave the locks on or the latches and cut around them, and the time it would take to do that and the chances that I'd mess up versus just removing the latches, I decided just to remove the latches. It's going to make my life a lot easier. It already has on this side. I've already pretty much gone around. I just need to cut that out, and then I'm going to stretch this side down and hopefully get as many air bubbles out of it as possible. But yeah, that's certainly making my life a lot easier now. And these things only took a total of maybe 3 minutes total to remove both of them. So back to it. You know, one of the cool things about this 3M air release vinyl is that it's porous. So like bubbles like this that kind of appear on the surface, typically you'd have to work them to the edge. But because this has those tiny little holes inside of it, you can literally just squeegee them out on the side without having to work the bubbles out. That is really cool. See that? And it didn't even drag the bubble with it. So, a lot different than what I'm used to when it comes to like pretty much anything else you have to do this to. Typically you have to work the bubble all the way to the top. But on this you don't, because it releases the bubbles as you go over it. That's very cool. Okay, so I'm going to try to trim all this off, at least all the excess, and see what it looks like. Okay, so I have all the holes cut out. Didn't do a perfect job of this, but it turned out pretty good. This part right here wants to kind of lift up around the edge a bit. Hopefully the gasket around the latch will hold it in place. And then down on the bottom, kind of the same thing. But overall, I think it turned out pretty good. I just need to reinstall the latches on it now, which are really easy to do. You simply drop it in like that. And then put the back screws in place and the back cap on, and you're in good shape. So yeah, it covers that up real well, and the latch gasket right here will press up against the vinyl, so it should stay in place. Again, not perfect, but it certainly looks better than it did. All right, let's go ahead and get these handles reinstalled. Okay, so the latches are reinstalled. Time for the reveal. Check that out. What do you guys think? Does it look a little better? You can see where I still have to do the propane door over here, but I think it looks better. I mean, it definitely blends a little better. We'll only know for certain once I get the door over here wrapped as well. I don't know if I have enough material to do both sides, honestly. My measurements, I think we're on, but I think I have enough. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and see what I have and if I'm able to do both sides or not. Okay, so on this front door, I went ahead and removed the bottom latch right here. It's just a Phillips head screw on the back and then a retaining nut, and it just comes right out. But yeah, this one is going to be interesting because I do have enough wrap if I wanted to use the other half of this to put on here, but then I wouldn't have enough for the other side. But the piece that extends past it is short by about 3 inches. Basically the piece that I cut off to make this fit here, this part, yeah, it would end right about here. But I can rotate it and it would fit this way. So with that gone, I should be able to put it down. I've already cleaned the door off real well. So yeah, it's just going to be laying it down and hoping I don't have too many issues putting it over this. Okay, so this side was considerably easier than that side. I didn't line it up perfect right here, but it's not off by much, and it's about the same on this side, so it's looking good. This side went on pretty easy. Again, I'm not an expert at this. That being said, I have installed tint extensively on vehicles in the past in my younger days, so there is a process to it. For me, it's kind of working from the center out like this, because the last thing you want to do is apply pressure here, then you have a big seam right here that you have to work out or peel it off. So I always start from the center, kind of work my way out. This stuff creases pretty good, so I can push it right against the edge here. If this is something you decide to do yourself, I hate to say this, but if you don't have any experience doing this, it would probably be pretty difficult. Just heads up. So I don't think I make this look easy, because you know, it's not one of those things that I think is rocket science, but it certainly does take some time and patience if you've never done it before. And you know, just stretching it, getting it to fit everywhere properly is going to be a problem for a lot of people. I just want to throw that out there. So if you're going to run off and buy a roll of this on Amazon or wherever you decide to get it, just keep in mind this is not as easy as it looks. Okay, so here's the latch I was telling you about. Just have to tighten the backing onto it, and then just replicate what this looks like. So piece goes in like that, and then just has a Phillips head screw that holds it in place. Okay, so we're all done with this side at least. Check it out. What do you guys think? I mean, compared to it before, how does it look now? I'll kind of give you that same perspective that you saw before. I think it looks 100 times better. I think it makes it really look finished off on the side versus kind of, I guess, missed or cosmetically not right. But now you see the black trim run all the way down the side, and it kind of conceals that part of the door as well. Is it perfect? No. But was it worth the hour or so that I'm out here doing all this? Absolutely. Very, very cool. And if you know someone who does vinyl graphics, even better. But you know, this was easy enough for me to do. And you know, it's worth trialing and erroring for yourself, because you may want to add graphics to something later. So if you buy some, just buy quite a bit more than you need and practice on little areas, or buy enough to redo it if you mess up. You know, it's worth it to me. If you pay someone to do this, they'd probably charge you like $400 or something. So for me to be able to knock this all out for, I think I paid everything under 20 bucks, something like that. It's totally worth it. Okay, so I was gonna record the other side off camera and just get back to you with it, but I did run into the problem I thought I would run into. Let me show you what's going on. All right, so I had enough to do the bottom of the door here. Now here is the interesting stroke of luck I had. So the part that I used on the other door, the other half of it fit this exactly. I'm talking about perfectly. I didn't have to trim anything off of the bottom. It literally lined up perfectly and was the same length. It just, I mean, what's the chances? That was awesome. So yeah, really, really happy with that. I don't have enough to do this door, but I can just order a small piece and knock the door out. That's a really, really easy one to do. I was fortunate here that the vinyl actually just covered part of the bottom here. I was able to trim it and tuck it underneath the handle right there. You can see where you cut a little bit of a white outline right here, just where it sets down, but you can't tell when you stand back from it, which is really cool. But yeah, very, very happy with this. Anyways, this is such a cool, easy upgrade to do. It's one you can do yourself. You just definitely want to order enough material that if you mess up, you can kind of try again until you get it right. It's not that difficult, but if you have no experience doing it, it can be difficult. That's all I'm trying to say. Very, very affordable upgrade to do. And I think cosmetically, it really makes your RV pop because it completes that line. It's almost like having a pinstripe going down your vehicle with half of it missing over a certain part of your vehicle. So, well, anyways, this is the only piece I have to complete. I just have to order a really small piece to do this, and I ran out, but it's always good to have extra, so I might just order another long piece of it just so I can cover that or anything else I plan on. It would be kind of interesting to run it all the way around the bottom right here as well. What are your thoughts on that? Should I do it? Should I not do it? Let me know in the comments. Anyways, guys, I will put a link to all this stuff in the description of this video if this is an upgrade you feel like doing on your own RV. Just again, take your time, watch tutorial videos, spend time figuring out how you have to do it. That way you don't waste too much material, because if you've never done something like this before, it's probably going to be a trial and error type of thing. And you don't have a lot of flexibility in terms of reusing this stuff if you mess it up, or if you crinkle it, or if you create too sharp of a crease. So just, again, get as educated as you can on how to do this before you try to tackle it, and buy enough that you can do it over again if you mess up. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you've enjoyed this video. If you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll be back to talk to you again very soon.